In this video series, we are going to go over the entire bronze application for the Bronze Quality Award through the American Healthcare Association. Before we get too far into it, I do want to explain a couple of things that are very important to note. The first thing is, this is all learning objectives, blah, blah. By the way, this workbook, you can download a copy of this workbook right here on the left-hand column of Thinkific. There is the application which you can download, and you can download the workbook. There's no difference between the application and the workbook other than we created the workbook so that it makes it easier to understand and answer each part of each question. So that's why we use the workbook, but you can feel free to use either one. And case in point to talk about that, there are 19 questions in the bronze application. However, most of the questions have multiple parts. If you look at this first example, this example right here, it says, what are your main healthcare service offerings and what is the relative importance to each to your success? That means there are 2 questions in the first question, which means there's actually 35 questions in the bronze application. At first glance, it'll look like there's only 19 questions. Trust me, there's actually 35, and it's very important that you answer all 35 questions, which is again why we created this workbook, because we break out each question. If you could just go, I'll go back to that, but you can see here is, what are your main healthcare service offerings? That's one question. And then here's the second question. What is the relative importance to each? By the way, that's still one question. But see how the workbook works? We break it out so that you make sure that you don't miss any parts of the question, which is why this workbook is so helpful. The other thing I want to talk about is the 8 words you should never say on an application. And in fact, I would argue these 8 words are really not helpful in the management of your senior care organization. Should, often, try, can, could, we're going to. Imagine one of the questions could be, how do you listen to your residents? And you might want to respond with saying, well, usually, see, that is not systematic. Usually is very passive, or sometimes, or we try to listen to our residents. No. We don't try. We're going to, we could, typically, usually. These words are very passive, and a quality award winner, a Bronze Quality Award winner, is an organization that is proactive. Your proactive approach, you're proactively focusing on quality outcomes to make your decisions. And so you're not waiting for a complaint. You are trying intentionally, proactively to find issues before they rise to the level of a complaint. That is the intention of the Quality Award program at the bronze, silver, and gold level. A couple of other points I will make before we get into this too far is the page count is 5 pages. This can only be a total of 5 pages. The second thing is Times New Roman. Times New Roman is the font style. 12 is the font size. 1-inch margins all the way around the paper. And also, when it comes to tables, and there's a few places where you can put tables in, it is a Times New Roman font 10. You can also use Calibria at an 11, or for the tables, a Calibria font of 9. But here's the other thing that's very important. This application is actually going to be submitted through the Quality Award portal. And in the Quality Award portal, you're literally going to cut and paste. You can type right into the Quality Award portal, and you can save your progress. So you don't have to type it all in at one time and then submit. You can save as you go and come back to it. Most of us actually write it on a Word document. So we type it all out on a Word document, and then we cut and paste each section into the Quality Award portal. It gives us the ability to do so. It also gives us the ability to populate tables so you can see how a table format works. But all in all, just keep in mind it's 5 pages in length, 1-inch margin, 12-inch font for Times New Roman, or 11 for Calibria. I just said try. Don't try. Avoid all of these words. Don't use words like this. And keep in mind, there's always more than one, and usually there's more than one part to each question. Make sure you answer every single question. That's it. I hope you're as excited as I am. Let's get into the questions. P1A1. What are your main healthcare service offerings?